What's going on, everybody? Hope you all are doing well. I'm doing well myself, and I want to talk about the Dallas Mavericks. I ended up watching the game last night, and I'm reporting about it so late because I had things to do this morning. But that game was really interesting because I thought that since Kyrie Irving was coming back, the Mavericks were gonna have kind of a chance, and I actually could have told you myself that they weren't. But I was also anticipating the game. I don't think they were gonna lose by 40, but I didn't think that Kyrie Irving coming back would solve all of the Mavericks' problems, is what I'm trying to insinuate. But I did believe they would at least win the game against the Jazz. But Jordan Clarkson, I believe, recorded the first triple-double in Jazz history in a very long time. I think it's been like a multitude of years since they've had a regular season triple-double, and Jordan Clarkson did it for them against the Dallas Mavericks, and it was really just a bad game because Luka missed shots. And when Luka misses shots, with a guy like Luka being your offense, if he goes 3 for 13 for 3, that's what Luka went last night, you're not going to be able to win because you depend upon him. I say like 1 out of 3 possessions while Luka's on the floor is a 3 from him. Like, okay, somebody might get a 3, somebody might get a shot, and then it's a Luka step back. It might be 1 out of 5, but it seems really repetitive over the last few games where a big part of their offense is, okay, we're going to get it inside, okay, we're going to pass it over, and then Luka's going to do a step back 3. And then they're going to do this, they're going to do that, they might do another thing, and it's a Luka step back 3. It's like a big part of their offense, and he does a whole lot for them. So when he's missing, they're not going to be able to win in the same way. You look at Kyrie Irving, and I thought that when he came back that they would have a little bit of a more stretch, but I realized that Luka and Kyrie do not merge well together, at least from this game I've seen. Kyrie can't be on the ball while he's on the court with Luka because Luka's on the ball. Kyrie's an amazing player, but Kyrie can't play off ball. Kyrie demands the ball in his hands, and there's no way you're looking at Luka Doncic and saying, okay, play off ball. They both need the ball in their hands, yet they're both on the same team. And we've seen this sort of ordeal happen before where you have two great point guards who are playing on the same team with a bunch of role players, and it doesn't ever end well. So I believe the Mavericks need to make a trade, and I will tell you about them. But the two teams I've seen over the past few years is we've seen it with the Washington Wizards. I know Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal were not to the level of Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, but I don't think it's about skill level. I think it's just about the shots to go around. Bradley Beal was averaging like 30 points around that time. It may have been more than like 31, 32 points a game around that time. Bradley Beal was averaging a whole lot of points. Russell Westbrook was averaging near triple-double. One of his better seasons was in Washington after OKC. And they were playing great basketball, but they both are guards, and Russell Westbrook was able to play a lot better off ball than Kyrie is able to, but they didn't merge together well, and they weren't able to do well. You didn't see that team in the finals or, in the conference finals because that won't lead you that far. Having two good players and two good guards and then a bunch of role players is not going to be able to get you a championship no matter how good he is. I believe Luka is the best player in the NBA, but I do not believe that him playing with Kyrie Irving, two guards, are going to be able to win anything serious. You look at the Houston Rockets, they did it with Russell Westbrook and James Harden, and this is when James Harden was crazy, but that team wasn't able to get to a finals. Why? Because you can't just have Westbrook and Harden and then Clint Capella is your third best player and a bunch of role players, and they had Eric Gordon. That team was a lot better than I think this Mavericks team is, but that's not going to take you as far as you need to be. They need a center, and especially with the game Luka plays, like Harden had a Clint Capella. I like comparing the game of Luka and Harden sometimes because even though Luka has done it way better, he's a lot better than Harden. If you watch Luka and you know who Harden is back when Harden was in his glory days, they do have their similarities, and since that is the case, Harden was able to play really well off of Clint Capella, so I would look at a Luka Doncic and say he'd be able to play really well off of a guy like Clint Capella. And I'm not saying Derek Lively isn't, reliable, but he's young and he's not as reliable as you would want. And I want to talk about a trade that I think the Dallas Mavericks may want to make. I think for the Mavericks right now, their best bet, I think they can go a lot farther in the playoffs if they build a team just around Luka. Get rid of Kyrie and get some supporting pieces, maybe a good big man who, and I think you also get rid of Tim Hardaway Jr. because I feel like Tim Hardaway Jr. and Seth Curry get in the way of each other. And no, I have not been watching Dallas Mavericks games besides this season, so I don't know how reliable Seth Curry is, but I feel like he's a lot of a better player than Tim Hardaway Jr. when he's in a groove. And I think the only way you're going to get him in a constant groove is if you get him in the starting lineup. And I know Tim Hardaway might play a little bit better defense, but Tim Hardaway Jr. just shoots a bunch of shots, and Seth Curry's a better shooter than Tim Hardaway Jr. So why not put Curry in that lineup and take Tim Hardaway Jr. out, trade him for something more. This season, he's averaging 17.5 points, 3.7 rebounds. It's all right, but he's shooting at 41% from the field, and he's shooting at 35% from three. He shoots 9 threes a game. So if you're shooting 9 threes a game and he makes 3.2, you have a 35% three-point percentage. That is not okay. That's not okay to shoot 9 threes a game and you make 3. You're shooting at 35% from 3. You're shooting 9 a game. Like you're shooting 41% from the field. Last year he shot 40%. The year before that he shot 39%. The year before that he shot 44. The year before that he shot 43. The year before that he shot 39. The year before that he shot 40. The year before that he shot 38. He's never been efficient. Why are you letting this guy get the minutes where Seth Curry can be shooting all those shots he shoots, and Curry's going to make more than him? Curry's a reliable shooter, career over 40%. Get Curry in that starting lineup. Take Tim Hardaway Jr. and trade him. I believe Tim Hardaway's actually been coming off the bench this season, but they need to start Seth Curry. They need to have a lineup of Luka, Seth Curry, probably put Derrick Jones Jr. for right now with Dante Exum and Derek Lively. They need to trade Kyrie Irving. That should be their lineup. And either Kyrie Irving comes off the bench or Kyrie Irving gets traded. And I'm talking as if Kyrie gets traded, but I take that back. Don't put Kyrie on the bench. Keep Kyrie starting, but I'm talking as if he's getting traded, and that's like a mock lineup. But once you trade Kyrie, you have guys that are on the market. I believe you got to do a 3-team trade. I think Luka getting a guy like Lauri Markkanen into his team would really benefit him. We've seen Luka with Kristaps Porzingis, and I don't remember really what that looked like very much. But I know Lauri Markkanen is probably a lot better than Kristaps Porzingis is. And I think Lauri Markkanen is one of those guys that you can go get. I think Pascal Siakam is one of those guys that you can go get. But really, they need like an Andre Drummond type guy. They really need like a big guy who can, is agile. Maybe a Nick Claxton. Maybe, I know DeJounte Murray will be on that lineup. Or on the trade block, so they might be able to get a guy like him in a 3-team trade. I don't know how DeJounte Murray would play with Luka Doncic, but I'm sure he'll have a lot better of a chance running off ball than Kyrie Irving, because here's the thing, Kyrie Irving needs the ball in his hands. Kyrie Irving is one of those guys, and I can end up being wrong, but Kyrie Irving is a guy that, in Game 7, playing against my Warriors, my favorite player, Steph Curry, Game 7, Kyrie Irving is a guy who took the ball from LeBron James. Like, how good can you be to take the ball from LeBron, motion everybody out the way, and then you make something happen? That's what Luka does. So that's like putting Kyrie in the corner is just like putting Luka in the corner. It's ridiculousness. So I think a trade needs to be made. I think they're not as good of a team as they could be if they make a trade, make a move, and just build around Luka. If you're gonna run Luka and a bunch of supporting cast, at least have decent supporting cast. You can go with a guy, with a lineup like Luka and Lauri Markkanen, and hopefully you can get another piece if you're trading Kyrie Irving, and that'd be a 3-team trade, because I don't think the Jazz will want to take on Kyrie Irving for any good reason. But you could, get Lauri and another decent piece, or you trade Kyrie and get a lot of decent pieces and try to run something where Luka's your guy and you fill the team with a bunch of guys that'll benefit the way Luka plays. When you do that, you're so reliant upon Luka that if he has a bad game, the team's going to lose. But I think that is a better deal than running with Kyrie right now. They need to make a move, because I can see this team and it's not going to go very far. They're not a very good team, and it depends on what they're trying to do. Luka's young. They don't have to be trying to win right now, and they can wait till next year. But I'm just I'm foreshadowing and forecasting what I believe the weather is going to give us. It's going to give us a first, second round outage, because Kyrie Irving is not a guy that can go out there and playoff ball with Luka, and he needs the ball in his hands. He needs to have a feel for the game. You can't just give Kyrie the ball halfway through the second half and then expect him to have his shot down. No, that's just not how Kyrie plays. He's not really good at playing off balls. I watch him. He had 14 points last night. He went 6 for 14. Luka had a terrible game. He went 6 for 20, but that's part of the reason why they lost. But I just saw some real problems, and I think they need to get rid of Tim Hardaway Jr., get rid of Kyrie Irving if they can. They might be able to keep Kyrie, but they need to make some type of move. They need to get a real center, maybe an Andre Drummond, but Andre Drummond's not also a lob threat. So maybe a guy like, if the Grizzlies realize that they don't want a guy like Brandon Clark, like if Brandon Clark, when he comes back, he's supposed to be back in February, and, say Brandon Clark comes back and he's kind of interfering with the minutes of Jaren Jackson. They don't really know what to do. You trade a guy like Brandon Clark for maybe a Tim Hardaway Jr. to the Grizzlies. That's going to give them some more scoring that they desperately need. He might be able to fill a role of like a Dylan Brooks, and then you get something going there versus, sticking with this lineup and, watching the Titanic go down into the water. But anyway, I'm rambling on. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I certainly did. I got a lot of hope for the Mavericks because Luka's playing great basketball, so I think they need to put a real team around him. But yeah, that's it for me, man. I hope you guys enjoyed. I certainly did, man. I bet not see no more Seth Curry DMPs. Peace out.